Welcome to The Hats. The Hats is a weekly podcast hosted by licensed marriage and family therapist and author Melissa Dumaz and attorney and business owner Kerri Harper-Howie. Listen in for practical tips on how to keep your hats upright, how to handle life when one of your hats gets lopsided, and plenty of real-life solutions to help you balance the many hats you wear daily.
Hello, and welcome back to the Hats Podcast. This is your co-host, Kerri Harper-Howie, and I'm glad to be back with my co-host.
Hi, Hatters. This is Melissa Dumaz. Thank you for being back with us. And if you're here for the first time, thank you for joining.
Hatters, as you know, we are in the midst of our Boss Bitch season. And these times today, you cannot be a boss. You cannot level up. You cannot do the next best thing if you are not somehow incorporating artificial intelligence into what you were doing, right? I'm guessing, Mel, as a therapist, there may be some AI options that you can use, whether it's note taking or, maybe helping with diagnoses, et cetera. In my business, we're looking at AI to help us with efficiencies, with customer service, all sorts of things, right? So all the way from therapy to the restaurant business and everything in between, AI is on the rise. And so we are so lucky today, not only to be talking about AI, but to have an expert on AI. But before we introduce this very special guest, he's special for so many reasons. Mel, I feel like you were the one who suggested this as a topic for this particular season. So I need to know why this was the season for AI to make it onto our programming.
Yeah, absolutely. We are seeing a boom in AI and artificial intelligence. And I also want to recognize, though, that AI has been there. It's been there, but more people are gravitating to it. It's making more of a public scene, if you will. More people are using it for business and then for fun and for joy and so many different ways. And I thought, well, we can't have a whole season where we're talking about leveling up and moving into different seasons of our own lives, personally and professionally, without also having this conversation regarding artificial intelligence. And some of our listeners may already be using it, and some may be like, oh gosh, here they go talking about that thing that we don't want to talk about. One thing that the way that I see AI is, if you remember, if you're young enough to remember, back when there was a transition from in school, them offering typing classes to offering computer classes. And if you did not make that shift from typing to computer, then you really did get left behind.
Yeah.
And so I really feel that way about artificial intelligence. And again, how can we level up if we're not talking about it?
Well, that's me. I have resisted and am just completely wowed by my infinitesimal entree into the world of AI. So I'm going to give you the pleasure of introducing our guest today before we dive into our conversation.
Absolutely. So, Hatters, as you know, one thing that Kerri and I commonly say when we have a guest, if we're not the experts, we are going to find an expert and we're going to bring that expert to our audience. And that's what we are doing today by having Khalel Dumaz here with us today. So if you are watching or listening, you can see Khalel. Khalel, go ahead and say hello to our Hatters.
What's up, Hatters?
So before I introduce Khalil by reading his bio, I must say this. One, he's not a new guest to the Hats Podcast. He was on every episode in season 8. If you have not put 2 and 2 together, Khalel Dumaz is my husband. Surprise! If you are connected with me on social media, or even if you know me privately, then you know that I call my husband my cool nerd, because he is the biggest tech computer nerd that I know. But he's so cool though. Like, he has this like coolness, this energy around him that is always I've always labeled him as the cool nerd. In addition to that, I have claimed him for my own personal CTO for my private practice, my wellness brand, and we have claimed him as our CTO, Chief Technology Officer for the Hats Podcast. So he does a lot of work for us and our brand behind the scenes. But today, let me tell you about him, because he is so much more than my husband, so much more than our friend, so much more than my cool nerd. Khalel Dumaz is a product design engineer and AI founder building the next generation of intelligent business systems. As a co-founder of Vora IQ, He's creating an AI business operating system that helps founders validate ideas and execute with precision. He has contributed to and led product initiatives at Meta, Amazon, and Fanatics, designing scalable platforms used by millions. His work sits at the intersection of AI systems thinking and real world business execution. In addition, he is a husband. He's been married for 16 years. He's a father of 3. He is a friend. He is a homie. He is a brother. He's an amazing son to his parents. And so many other things. I could go on and on about how amazing he is. And not just because he's my man, but because he's an amazing guy. In addition to that, I want to say that we have a friend who has nicknamed Khalel Helatek.
Jason.
Which is a funny story because we were all hanging out and just in conversation. And the few times they hung out, Jason looks over at Khalil. He goes, "Oh, okay. You're one of them hella tech dudes. You hella tech." And the names suck. I mean, even so much so that one of my husband's businesses is Hella Tech LLC. And so he is hella techy. But Khalil, welcome to the Hats Podcast.
Thank you guys for having me.
Welcome back to the Hats.
Yes,
Yes.
welcome back.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me. It's always amazing to be hanging out with two foxes and to have amazing discussions. So I'm glad you guys brought me on.
So I'm going to start by saying, Hatters, we don't have to play around with our experts. So even as Mel was reading your bio and even all of the things that I know about you, I just want to say I'm so thrilled that you are our guest on this episode because you are the real deal. Like there's no faking, there's no word like, oh, well, what can we do? I guess we can use color. Like we are sitting here with a soon to be legend, already incredibly successful individual in the tech world. So I'm taking off all of the things that we just like about you and we know you. You are here as our expert. So are you ready for our first question?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it.
You guys have gassed me up. All right. Let's go.
We don't lie. We don't sell lies.
So we know that you Hatters, many of you out there are ambitious women like Mel and I, which is really why you listen into this podcast because you're looking for things to help you achieve your ambitions in life. So Khalel, for our ambitious women listeners out there who feel behind in tech, and quite frankly, I'm one of them, what is AI really and what is it not?
That's a great question. The way I frame it is like this. AI today is like a super duper really, really smart intern, right? The future AI will be an adult that knows and can learn anything on its own. So where we are at this moment, I would look at and frame AI as like, don't use it to be creative necessarily, use it as a co-founder. Use it as someone to collaborate with or something to collaborate with. So if you're building anything, it doesn't matter the business, don't go into it thinking, I'm going to have AI do everything for me. No, you're the orchestrator. You're the chef. AI right now is the sous chef, right? So that's kind of the mindset you have to take, because if you try to just go, hey, AI, do it all for me, you're going to get what we call in the industry AI slop. Right? It'll do it for you, right? ChatGPT is amazing, but it's also going to go, yeah, I'll do that for you. Even it could be wrong, but it's going to be very glad to do the thing for you. And so that's why you want to be good at prompting, making sure you give it a role, make sure you give it context so it understands specifically what you want to do and what the outcome will be. So that's how you have to approach it.
Mm-hmm.
That
that 100% answers it because what it's not is the answer.
Yes.
To any question.
Right.
AI, right, is not the answer. I love the idea. I gave 2 really great examples, an intern and a sous chef. It really puts you in the driver's seats and it gives AI an incredibly important and helpful support role, but you can't just rely upon it to do everything. That's what I'm hearing.
No, you don't want to do that. Again, you're the orchestrator. Be the orchestrator. You're the creator. AI is there to help you output that creative ambition you have in a better way. It's a refinement. It's collaboration. It's going, oh, don't use that word, use this word. But then you get to decide if that word is good for you, right? And so I think a lot of people that use it have to really understand that you are still in control. Don't let it be the controller of whatever you're trying to produce. You're in control, right? So if you look at it from that standpoint, I think you'll have better success using it and you get better answers.
Right. And the thing I'll add to that as well, to Khalil's point about, slop, AI slop, and being a good prompter, like you're going to get out whatever you put in. And the same goes for anything else we do in life. You go to the gym, you do a half-ass workout, you're going to get half-ass results. You go into the kitchen, you cook a half-ass meal, you're going to get a half-ass meal put to the table. But and I know there's a lot of concern, and we'll get to that about like what does this mean for the people, for the future? But even if you're using AI, for example, as your copywriter for your website or whatever your brand is, you still have to have words, wisdom, knowledge to be able to speak that prompt into whatever AI platform you're using to be able to get out something. Because you're going to get out something, but it may be watered down, it may be slop, it may not be as eloquent, it may not paint as beautiful a picture as you would like. And that's because it is putting out a result of what you put in.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's absolutely true. And you nailed it. That is true for anything in life. And so if you want to get something good back, you have to put good things in.
Right.
So understanding, I'm going to assume that one of the issues, and that's is an answer to my question, is that people are not necessarily putting in the best information into the AI platforms to get what they want. But what other types of mistakes do you see founders and entrepreneurs making when they try to use AI as that intern, as the sous chef?
I think, the mistakes are pretty universal. Right? Everybody, again, they just wanted to do everything, right? Just like someone who, I'll bring this up for a second, but I remember when my wife first started working out and she would tell people, she'd be like, what did you do? You look amazing. And she would say, I'm just worked out. And they would be so defeated because they're looking for the magic pill to do everything for them. I think that's really the biggest mistake. It's pretty universal. When I talk to people, I talk to founders, they're looking at it as a thing to do the whole everything for you. It will do that. It is getting there, right? I mean, we have AI coding tools now like Claude Code, which is amazing. You tell it what you want and it will build it for you. The challenge is for a lot of people who are, I would say, not very technical is it's going to build it, but maybe not the most secure way, maybe not the best way. Claude is a lot better at that now, and it's getting better. But if you go in without that foundational knowledge, you're going to get something that may not be that great, right? And so I think, again, that the struggle that people have is pretty universal. It's still new. I talk to a lot of people and it's still new to them. They're still trying to figure out how to use it, how to incorporate it in their business. And there are layers to it. And, we're starting to see now that companies are incorporating and not really seeing, at least some companies are not seeing the benefit of it yet because they haven't incorporated it properly, right? And so there's a lot of fear, one, in the usage of it, and then two, just lack of understanding on how to get the most out of it. That's with all of our stuff too. You think about your phone, we're not using 100% of our iPhone, right? And so, that to me, again, bringing it back, that's where I see the biggest. I think that issue being universal, where they just don't really understand how to use it to get the best results.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say for me, I don't know if this is exactly a mistake, is for me, because I, in my head, think that there's this whole universe of artificial intelligence capable websites or something's out there. And so my mistake is I just feel overwhelmed. And so I don't even try. I don't want to look at it. I don't want to think about, I'm like, Claude, I don't even want to, I want to know what Claude is, but I don't want to know what Claude is. I'm not ready. And so for me, my mistake is allowing it to overwhelm me, but not keeping in mind that wherever I go, whatever I use, I'm still in control. So if I just kind of take it bit by bit, site by site, then I can still remain in control.
Yes. You brought up a good point, bit by bit, piece by piece. Another issue, actually, glad you mentioned that, is people just go and expect it to give a good output. But no, you want to really be strategic about how you ask the questions. Don't try to ask 75 questions at once. Don't try to do this big, gigantic thing. Say, first, I'll give you a perfect example. Let's say you want to build a website. You're using AI, you're using a tool like Lovable, right? Lovable, essentially, you tell it what you want to build it. You don't want to just say, build me an e-commerce site. No, you want to say, I want to build an e-commerce site that focuses on home delivery goods, right? You want to give it very strict rules, guardrails, and the role is important, like exactly what this thing is supposed to do. And so when you do that, now the AI is good at parsing and going, oh, okay, I understand the context. I understand the output. I understand what he's looking to do or he or she is looking to do versus e-commerce site. That's not going to get you the right output, right? It's going to give you e-commerce site, but it's not going to fit your brand necessarily. It's not going to do the things you may want it to do. It's just an e-commerce site. And so being very critical about how you prompt it is key. One of the things that I'm trying to build now with Lavora is like, I don't want you to have to go that deep into prompting, right? We have put all the prompts in for you. Just tell us what your business is, right? And so it's trying to change the framing of how you use AI in a way that's more geared toward you not being an expert and you just using it. It needs to be user-friendly as your phone, right? And I don't know that most people that I talk to, they still have it. It's still not that friendly yet. It works well and it's friendly enough, but not to the point where you get the best answers all the time without being a prompt master.
Right.
It makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I'm very much a speak in analogies, understand analogies. And so the analogy that came up for me as you were sharing your answer, Khalil, was is the difference between going to the grocery store with a meal plan and a grocery list versus just going and buying ingredients. You get home and you may have all the ingredients you need to make a meal, or you may be scrambling on the back end, like, okay, I got broccoli and I got protein, but I don't have a grain or I don't have the special spice that I'm looking for. I can't make this specific meal. And so doing as much as you can up front to get the best outcome versus speaking any outcome and then looking on the back end and now having to scramble and figure out what has been built.
Yeah, I like that grocery store analogy. That's too. And then really, not even you're telling somebody else to go get the groceries.
That is true. And I hear so many horror stories about people who use, I don't even know the company name.
Instacart.
Yes, who use Instacart. They're like, I asked for a banana. And then they show the picture and it's like a watermelon or whatever it is.
I'm a big believer in Instacart. So,
and I'm not mad. I'm here it saves time, which I need to buy back some of my time.
yes, get on board, Mel. Okay.
So you look at you using technology.
I know. It's still overwhelming.
You're still a young lady. It shouldn't feel like that.
Well, goodness. Okay, so we've kind of talked about some of the obstacles, what AI really is. So tell us, Chloe, because you're in the middle, you are a part of this AI frenzy, the wild, wild west, some people call it, right? You're building an AI business operating system. First, I want you to tell us what it is. And I want you to have your sales pitch moment for why. And this was not practice. This is not on my questions. I want you to talk about it. And then I want you to tell us what it means to have an AI business teammate and how such a teammate can level up and why you told me before the segment I had to call it a business teammate and not something else.
Okay.
That was a lot of questions.
Yeah.
That was the wrong way to approach AI, right? Just dumped everything in.
Good examples.
You already learned something. You already learned.
Now I'm going to try to give you the best
The output.
output.
Thank you.
So what we're building, Jeff and I, we're building Vora IQ, and essentially it's a, like you said, it's a business operating system, right? It's AI native, meaning it's inherently AI, right? It's from the ground up. It's built with AI thinking. And so the idea is, Kerri has an amazing idea. Sometimes we have good ideas, but the path to execution is challenging and it's rigid and it's rough. What we have tried to do, what we've done actually, is allow you to take that idea, structure it, create something that's meaningful, build a whole system, right? So you have a plan, you have a validated idea, meaning we have used our tool to make sure this idea is worth you pursuing. That's a big deal because a lot of ideas, they hit a dead end because you've gone this far and you're like, oh boy, this wasn't even a good idea to begin with, right? And so our system is meant to stop that. Then once you do get past your validation, your ideas, once we get past validating your idea, we build out a roadmap for you. So that roadmap consists of the things you need to do to make sure you can execute it. But on top of that, you have AI business teammates. what they do, they're in strategic positions based on your business. So it's dynamic. Meaning, if you're in a real estate business, then our agents will be tailored more toward real estate functionality and outcomes. You don't need to prompt it and say, create this elegant social pulse, right? Since it already understands your business, it already understands what phase you're in for your business, whether you're in the beginning or middle, it will provide answers already on spot for that, right? And so it's a self-learning system. Like the future of it is it's self-learning. It's analyzing signals and the stock market. It's analyzing signals and social trends. And it's feeding that back into the system. So now you understand like, okay, I know where I need to be. And the system is also going, let me adjust your roadmap. Let me make modifications to our plans since we've seen these new signals, right? And so this is very different than ChatGPT, right? Than Claude and these other tools. It's more built for execution, like real execution. As a business, as someone who is aspiring to build a business, and I look at students a lot when I think about this because we are going to hit a job apocalypse. It's already happening actually. And the way out of that is going to be for you to build a business. And so I'm seeing this future. I hate to say it because I don't like to put negative energy out, but it's real and it's coming. And so the system we're trying to build is meant to help you with that process of building a business. If you don't know how, this is the thing that will help you, walk you through step by step. And so the position of it is for students, right? For people who are aspiring entrepreneurs, for people who are serial entrepreneurs, you're a serial entrepreneur. Yeah, and imagine a system that, you don't have to do all this thinking. You're a business owner, right? And there's 1,000 different little micro decisions you have to make.
Yes.
Now imagine if you can offload some of that without having to prompt it.
Yeah.
It already understands. I know Kerri runs this restaurant business. Oh, I see these things happening. Hey, Kerri, guess what? This thing happened. You might want to modify here without you telling it. So that's the tool we've built, Ashley. And we're just looking to grow it, right? We're going to expand it. There's more to it than that. I'm giving you sort of surface level, but in its entirety, that's what Vora IQ is.
Imagine if people had Vora IQ during, like, in the months or so leading up to and early in COVID.
Oh my God.
And your tool monitoring everything that's happening.
Wow. Yeah.
Start buying masks. Start, preparing for supply chain issues.
Yes.
Imagine if people had these tools.
Trillionaire,
Yeah. Yeah.
So we need another world disaster.
Oh, no. No, he said the job apocalypse.
The job apocalypse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Pretty fearful, G. But it's the reality.
It's the reality though, right?
In the education piece too.
Education, our education system in this country is already a little shaky. And one thing I learned, I did some work at Arizona State University, and they are, maybe I shouldn't say this, but what I learned, let me not go too deep into it, but students are deciding to go, why should I go to college? I'll just use these AI tools and build my own business, which they're not wrong about that mentality. Now, college still exists, and we were talking about this the other day. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a doctor. That certificate or that PhD, you need that, right? That's going to validate your position. And so I think other industries though, right? When you think about entry-level industries, like that's going to get decimated, right? But then you have service industries. You think about plumbers. They're going to be fine, right? Electricians are going to be fine. But anything that can touch a digital surface, any work you're doing that requires like you to like fill out spreadsheets, that's going to be gone. That's already gone.
Unless and until our plumbing system becomes a smart plumbing system.
Oh man,
Then what the plumber's going to do?
that would be great.
I already think the plumbing system is a sham. So I'm
Plumbing.
a whole nother.
That's
a whole nother episode.
The plumbing system is a sham.
Man.
After
How is that possible?
After remodeling, I was like, these pipes are put here so y'all can do work. And because it don't need to be right here. They can be rerouted so differently, but I'm thinking about it from a user experience standpoint.
Yeah, we're going to come back.
Yeah.
I mean, back to the plumbing Europe. Okay, that is not the boss bitch season.
Right. Well, I will say though that to add on to what Khalil was saying about Bora IQ, one thing that I mean, he said some things here, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know that it did all of that too. And here I am, I'll sleep with the man at night. But one thing that I have loved about using Bora IQ is it's not a yes man or a yes woman or yes person. Like you can put your idea in, and we all think that our ideas are amazing, and you can put your idea in, and it's like, well, the market is really saturated with this, Melissa. They're like, oh, you know that too? How can you make this different? Or how can you bring your sparkle to it so that it doesn't look like the way that person A, B, and C are looking to build it? And so it really makes you think. It's not, as we talked about earlier, it's not doing the thinking for you. And you really have to brainstorm. And it's not just feeding you like, okay, here's an idea. Here's how you can make it different. It's like, no, like you're bringing your flavor to the table as well. So I really appreciate that about it. And then the other thing that I appreciate is that it doesn't just take your idea and roll with it. You know, it's like, for example, ChatGPT, like, oh, girl, that's a good old idea. Like, it is going to praise you to that. And I was,
There is no more affirming space on this planet than ChatGPT.
right.
And the way the affirmation, it is deep, and I'm like, oh my God, thank you.
And ChatGPT is great, but it will gladly guide you down the path and make you feel amazing about it. And it's like, this wasn't really the right thing for you to do, you know? So I'm glad you brought that up
Me
because,
too.
you know, for IQ, like that was the point. Like it can't be a yes man. Well, our metrics and what we are going for is how far people get within their business. We're trying to provide you with motivation. We're trying to provide you with inspiration, right? You are inspired to take action on this business. Now we want to help you get through it. And so it can't be a yes man. It just can't be. It needs to be like, no, that probably shouldn't do that, right? You might want to try this here. We found data here. So, you know what I mean? Like it's very much not a yes man at all.
And will it give you pivots?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
It will give you pivots. Yes.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said early in your answer, and it got me a little nervous. You're like, this system, Bora IQ, is constantly learning and learning and learning and learning. So I'm going to give you two things. One, I was listening to NPR, as I always do, and there was a whole story about these. Now there's an AI platform for AI bots to talk to and learn from each other. Have you heard about this? Okay. So in my head, right, I live near Hollywood. I watch a lot of movies, and I'm thinking these bots are going to plot to take over the world. Like, haven't we all seen enough movies about the AI that teaches itself not how to turn off or not turn offable by the humans, and then they basically destroy us because we are destroying the planet, for example, right? So we got to talk some AI ethics, and we've got to talk about genuine concerns that we need to have in mind that you, as a creator and a builder of AI, have concerns you have about the truly endless possibilities that AI presents.
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
That's a tough one. And I'll tell you, I mean, you know, even Elon Musk has mentioned some things, you know, some fears. You know, you have top executives stepping down from ChatGPT and Claude and some of these companies because they're like, whoa, right? ChatGPT just released ads. So now your personal information could be surfaced for an ad in ChatGPT. That's not really great because we all know that we've probably added a lot of personal information, more than we do with Facebook, more than we do with searching on Google, right? And so now it can take that information and go, oh, Kerri, I got some shoes for you. You know what I mean? Or try this pill. That's dangerous. So we're there now. Again, the genie is not get put back in the bottle. But there are strong fears. I will tell you personally, my biggest fear is that how men usually do things. Meaning, we created a bomb that can blow up everything. Wow. Why would you build that, right? And so when I look at AI, which is going to be probably the single most devastating technology to ever hit humanity, my biggest fear is that we do something with it that destroys humanity. Now, that's going real deep. That's movie stuff, but that truly is, I think about that like, man, if we don't get a handle on it, if we're not smart about how we leverage it, we might do some doom to humanity, like serious doom. And so those concerns and fears are very valid. You talked about Clawbot earlier, and some of that was a little fake. Yeah, like
NPR is giving out fake news.
so
I'm disturbed by that.
some of that was a little made up. There's parts
By
of it
the
that was,
creator?
yes.
Okay.
Well, no, again, so what me and my buddy have been talking about this, and he gave me a little insight, like, yeah, some of that was a little,
Okay.
and I trust him, right? So, I don't think we're there yet. Now we are approaching towards something called superintelligence and AGI, or so the analogy I gave you earlier. AI today is like an amazing intern. It's an incredible intern that knows everything. Then we reach the AGI zone where now it's an incredibly intelligent adult that can learn anything on its own without your input. That's the scary part, right? And a lot of companies are racing down that path. And it's tricky because there's a lot of value that can come out of it, but then there's a lot of disaster, especially how men do things. And I specifically say that because we haven't made great decisions with technology, right? Whether it's building a bomb or creating a system that allows fake news and fake information to infiltrate it to display public trust and public opinion, right? And so I look at it from those lenses more than anything else. And it's not going away. And we're only in year really 2, 3 of it. Now, we've been using AI for a while. We're just using a different version of it. Generative AI is very different than like the first version of Siri, right? Siri was still AI, it was machine learning. This is different, right? This is much different, far more advanced. And now we're trying to push past that, and we're still early. And so I'll give you a good analogy, and I'll stop here for the next question. If you look at the iPhone 1 right now, and then you look at the iPhone 17, for example, it took 17 years to make a jump, a technological jump like that. AI is going to do that in 6 months.
Wow.
Then it's going to be 3 months.
Wow.
Then it's going to be like, that's how fast it's accelerating and moving in terms of like the knowledge it's gaining and what it's able to do. It's moving really, really, really fast, which is why you do see people who are like, wait, whoa, hold on, we got to slow this down, right? It's tricky. And I had somebody from church was like, dude, you're contributing to the AI apocalypse. And I was like, not really. Like, I'm more focused on helping people build businesses. I'm trying to contribute to the job apocalypse, making sure that, look, I'm going to give you a system that will help you not worry about a job, but focus on building a business, something that you care about, something that you love and you can pursue, right? That's my angle. It's not to do these other things what ChatGPT is doing. It's definitely not on that level.
So, at the risk of being Debbie Downer here, what happens is your magnificent system is amazing. And then a billionaire comes to you and says, I want to buy this for several billions. And then you lose control of it. You're like, I got my
That's what happens.
That is what happens. So, and that alone is
technology.
that's not an indictment.
No.
That's just the reality.
Look, a lot
How
of
did
people
you
like
go?
it's Mark Zuckerberg, right? But he's not a bad guy or everything, but you have to understand he built a system that he didn't even know was going to be this big.
Right.
And then you have powers way above him that are like, we need control of that. You're going to have to bow down to us to an extent.
Yeah.
I'm not saying does, well, you have seen certain elements of it, but he's really a good guy. He really was trying to do a good thing, but it got bigger than him.
Yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, that could very well happen. But again, it's directed toward business. So the outcome can't be as disastrous as as ending humanity when it's really focused. It's so focused is on helping you build a business, a legitimate, real business. Right. And so it's a little bit different from that standpoint. And if a billionaire comes, yeah, we're going,
Hey, I'm hoping for billions
percentage
for you.
we're out.
I'm hoping for billions for this guy.
Yes.
For a trillion.
Oh,
So,
I mean,
but it just, there's no real answer to this whole debate.
Yeah.
And I think it's really, the question becomes, even if you think about who gets to decide what the right ethical position is, because plenty of us Or we'll say plenty of Americans didn't want Biden making those decisions, and plenty of us now don't want Trump making those decisions.
Right.
And so it's like, is it the government? Is it left self-regulation to, people out there who, you also strike me, Khalil, you are fundamentally creative. You're going to create, it's in you, right?
I can't help it.
You got to get it out, right? So it's like, to self-regulate, it's like you're asking me literally not to be true to who I am. So it's so complicated to figure out who gets to lead the way on making sure we avoid AI becoming the next atomic bomb.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. And to your point, as we're talking about the ethics of it, I was sitting here thinking like, oh, I'm sure, and maybe there's already some things in place now that it will become, legislative matters that we vote on or that get voted on with or without us. And I know, as Kerri already mentioned, that can even be challenging too, because different administrations have already lost trust in the public and have already lost trust in, like, are you really doing this for the good of humanity versus to fill your own pockets or your billionaire pockets or to have more power and control over the people. But I can imagine that we will start to see more legislative things, in regards to like what the rules or the parameters or the laws are regarding AI. And I know one of the ones that I read the most is environmental in regards to how much water it takes to cool down these systems. And that's a big concern too. And then lastly, I'll say there's also a lot of talk about privacy. And my husband and I talk about this a lot. And he's like, people forget there is no privacy. Like, you gave up your privacy when you went to Google and searched something, or when you created that Facebook account, or like, there's so many ways that we've already given up our privacy. It doesn't mean that we should be advocating to give up more, but there's so many ways we've already given it up.
Yeah. Privacy is a big one. And again, with the ChatGPT ads, right? And so if you want privacy, it's in your head.
Right.
So, and they're coming for that.
Just keep it inside, which at this point, everything is about getting everything out, right? Or to as many people as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Okay, so before let's close on an uplifting note, right? So we can't just be predicting the doom of the world.
I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying that, there are elements that could push us down that path.
That's fair.
If we don't regulate, if we are not smart about how we leverage this technology.
That's fair. So, top 5. What would be your top 5 go-to AI websites, apps for people out there who are ready to dive into the world of AI with zero experience so far?
Top 5, that's actually tricky.
Okay.
The reason why is because I only use 3.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. I am
Like-
open to efficiency.
So yeah, I only use 3. And that's the thing about it. Like, everybody chases the shiny object. Oh, this new came out, I gotta go chase that. Don't do that, right? You have to find what works best for your use case. ChatGPT, Claude, Google Gemini, they are similar but different. They behave a little differently, right? I use ChatGPT a lot for initial idea refinement or initial ideas, or I used to. And then I moved that to Claude, who's really good at refining that idea and like, getting the meat out of it. And then Google Gemini is like, oh, this is all great. I'm going to make it literal now for you, right? So they all behave a little differently. So those would be the 3, because those are the 3 big guys anyway. And we're going down a path where it'll be like the cell phone companies. You either got Verizon, you got AT&T, or you got T-Mobile. That's how these AI models will end up.
Does
And
Sprint no longer exist?
Sprint, they do that? I don't think so. I actually heard the name Sprint forever.
I am so old.
No, my first thought was a Squint, okay? And that's why it was an XPEL.
So that's how it's gonna end up shaking out, right? Those will be the 3 big guys, the big players. Right now, Apple use Claude internally a lot, right? But you have a lot of other companies, even some of the companies I work with, they use ChatGPT internally, right? Google is different, right? Apple will be using them to power Siri, right? They're using their model, right? So they're just very different, and it really just depends on your use case. So look at ChatGPT if you're not using it already. If you have been using ChatGPT, I would highly advise looking at Claude. I've actually been using Claude a lot more for the work that I do, especially for coding. My God, it's like the most amazing thing. I've done probably 5-6 months of work in like 2 weeks using Claude. Like literally, if I had developers doing this work with 6 months of guaranteed 6 months of effort to make it work. Oh, it's incredible. So it depends on what you're doing, but if you want to build websites, you're looking at things like that. There's another tool for website building called Lovable, right? Lovable is pretty good. Again, you are the orchestrator. You have to keep that in mind. You're the chef. That's the sous chef. So I would, again, the use case that's a tough question because it depends on the use case. But I would probably stick with ChatGPT, Claude, and Google Gemini. Those are like, to me, the best models you can leverage right now.
They seem pretty broad based.
Yes,
Right. So kind of anybody can find something that they need in these three spots.
Very bright.
So I appreciate that. I definitely have used ChatGPT, and I absolutely love it. I'm not sure I'm ready for Claude. Like, I think I need to refine my use of ChatGPT first. Love the idea of Lovable though, because as you know, I've had a few website struggles. So I'm gonna think about that.
What you want to do?
I know.
I'm here. You my sister, so I'm gonna hook you up.
Mel, any closing thoughts from you? You are, kind of, osmosis, right? You get all of this good tech knowledge, and I usually come to you first. Now, sometimes I go to Khalel too. But what are also your I don't have any tech tips. So what are your tech tips, Mel, for who is out there in the Hatter audience in the world of AI?
Yeah, I agree with Khalil. Clearly. I don't know. I don't get it all osmosis. So there are times where he'll grab my iPhone. He'll be like, babe, you don't use your phone for this? And I'm like, what is that? He'll like, I'm like, you didn't tell me. Apple didn't tell me. I don't know. But anyways, the other thing I'll say, like the three that Khalil recommended are great. The other thing too, based on your industry, like I know photographers use specific AI apps for editing and for touching up photos. So while the three that Khalil share are great places to start, to also be open to do some research or be in community with other people that are in your field and find out what's specific to your field. But if you are an entrepreneur or already in your field, just looking to level up in some areas, then definitely the three that he shared. In addition to that, too, I'll say, Kerri mentioned earlier about like, oh, you're probably using it as a therapist. I don't really use it in my private practice for the work that I do with clients specifically, like for notes. I'll take that back. I don't use it for notes. There are a lot of note-taking AI things hitting the scene, and I'm just not there yet. Like, there is talk that like, hey, people are using ChatGPT for therapy or for coaching. And so that is a risk, in regards to my industry. But there's that piece of me that's like, I'm not training that robot how to take my job, like in regards to writing my notes. And also I've been doing this for so long, like writing a client's note, it's easy for me. And then lastly, I'll say too, I hold my clients' personal information like so private that I'm like, I'm not, even if I were to use a AI platform for notes, I'm not giving it all my clients' details. It would just be a summary of. So that's that for me. But I more so use it for like personal branding, social media, copy, ideas, things of that nature. But sharing client specific information, nah, I'm not doing that. But anyways, I don't. Those are my last tips. I was gonna say I don't have any, but that was a mouthful. I do want to say for Khalil though, we had a lot of questions, and you did a beautiful job answering those questions. I also know that you come, as we mentioned earlier, with a wealth of knowledge, beautiful information. Is there anything that you want to share with our listeners that maybe we didn't ask, and you were like, oh, we should have addressed this, or here's a last tip?
You guys actually had some really good questions, right? So give me 10 seconds. No, I think you guys really cleared like the big things. To be honest, like when you guys were asking the question, I was like, oh wow, these are really good, like legitimate questions that are very relevant to what people should probably know right now. So I think you guys did a great job on that, and thank you guys for having me. But that's it. I've given you all that I know. If you want to reach out to me, feel free. You can find me on social media, and I'll gladly ask questions.
How will we find you?
Oh boy.
Not just that. How about we find you and get in touch if we have questions, if we want to connect, if we want to learn from you. But also, you mentioned that you're building an app that's going to help entrepreneurs to build a business. Where do I get it? Do I download it? Is it online? Like, help a sister out.
Yes, the app is in the App Store. If you're an iPhone user, it's in the App Store. So you can search for IQ and you'll find it. In the website, we're launching soon for all the people out there who said, oh, you need an Android version, or I don't have an iPhone. Well, now you're going to have it. Everybody will have access to it now, and that will be coming in the next week or two. So find me on social media, Man of Skills with a Z on Instagram, and everywhere else is just Khalel Dumaz. So it's pretty easy to find. If you Google me or something, or even ChatGPT me, they have a very massive graph of me, I was like, goodness gracious. I mean, I liked what I saw. I was like, whoa, y'all got me way up here. But you can find me.
No privacy, right?
Right. I feel like I forget what movie it was, but they were like, "Google me, bitch."
So she said that in the Boss Bitch season. Google me, bitch, with her full chest.
She said it with
I sat up. I was ready for it. So, Hatters, we sincerely hope. I think I can say I know you have learned something today. Khalel, first, before we close our episode, thank you so much for being here. You are a busy, busy man, and we sincerely appreciate you taking time out for the Hats podcast and for the Hatters out there who have learned so much from you today.
No problem. Thank you guys for having me. It was great. So I hope everybody learned something. And again, if you didn't, reach out to me. I can explain things differently if you need to.
Yeah. So, Hatters, we hope that you've taken some tips today. We hope that we have maybe loosened some of the fear that has tightened up your chest or made you nervous to approach. As I shared, I've had some nerves, and we hope that we've helped you release a little bit of that tension with all that we've learned today. And we hope that you will find yourself out there in the AI world and able to take your business to the next level using this incredible, incredible tool. As always, we want to say thank you so much for listening, and we tip our hats to you. The information in this podcast is provided for general informational purposes only and should not be construed as legal, medical, or therapeutic advice. Listening to this podcast does not take the place of developing an individual relationship with a therapist or attorney. If you need help for mental health or legal issues, we strongly encourage you to find a professional in your area who can help meet your individual needs.